The breaking point discovery in the void. The distress beacon had been silent for 18 hours before the UES. Pathfinder arrived at the Meridian system. Commander Sarah Blake stood rigid on the bridge, her knuckles white as she gripped the command console. The view screen showed 3 human colonies that had been thriving yesterday. Today they were graveyards wrapped in ash and flame. Meridian Prime had housed 82,000 civilians. The agricultural settlement on Meridian 2 supported 40,000 more. The research station on Meridian 3 was home to 15,000 scientists and their families. All 3 worlds now broadcast the same message through their silence. Death had visited here, systematic and complete. Blake's sensor officer, Lieutenant Chun, worked his console with shaking hands. His voice cracked when he spoke. "Commander, I'm detecting no life signs on any of the 3 colonies. Thermal imaging shows the attacks occurred approximately 20 hours ago. Weapon signatures match Zetharian plasma artillery. The Zetharians were an old empire, proud and territorial. They controlled 47 star systems and had been part of the Galactic Council for over 3,000 years. They were considered civilized, enlightened, and respected. They were also humanity's neighbors, and relations had always been tense. Blake ordered her crew to scan for survivors, even though she knew they would find none. For 6 hours, they searched through ruins and rubble. They found families huddled together in shelters that had been systematically targeted. They found schools where children had been trying to hide. They found hospitals where the sick and injured had burned in their beds. The evidence was undeniable. This had not been a military strike. This was extermination. The weight of numbers, Blake, recorded everything. Every body, every destroyed home, every piece of evidence. When her crew had documented the full scope of the horror, she transmitted the complete report to Earth. The final death toll was 137,000 civilians. No soldiers, no military installations, just people trying to build lives on distant worlds. Her communications officer received Earth's response within hours. "Commander Blake, you are ordered to return to Earth immediately. Do not engage any Zetharian vessels. Do not respond to any provocations. Command wants you back for testimony." Blake looked at her crew. Most had families on Earth or on other colonies. Every single person on her bridge understood that what happened to the Meridian settlements could happen to anyone they loved. The Zetharians had proven that human lives meant nothing to them. "Set course for Earth," Blake ordered. "Maximum speed." During the 3-week journey home, Blake learned that Meridian was not an isolated incident. The Zetharians had hit 2 other human settlements in what they called disputed territories. The total death count now exceeded 200,000 souls. Humanity's small presence in the galaxy was being systematically erased. The Council's cold, just as the Galactic Council convened on the neutral station Concordia, a massive structure that orbited a dead star at the center of civilized space. Representatives from 43 species gathered in the Grand Chamber, a cathedral of alien architecture where justice was supposedly served. Ambassador David Morgan represented humanity. He was a career diplomat who had spent 20 years building relationships with other species. He believed in the Council and the promise of civilized discourse and peaceful resolution. He carried with him the complete evidence of the Meridian massacres. The Zetharian representative was High Chancellor Vexther, a towering creature with crystalline skin that refracted light into rainbow patterns. When Vexther spoke, his translator rendered his crystalline chiming into perfect galactic standard. The territories in question were claimed by the Zetharian Empire over 2,000 years ago. Vexther explained calmly, "Our historical records are clear. Humans built their colonies on our sovereign soil without permission. We issued warnings that were ignored. We exercised our legal right to reclaim our territory." Morgan felt his carefully maintained composure cracking. "Your legal right?" You murdered 200,000 unarmed civilians. Children, Chancellor. You killed children in their schools. A regrettable necessity, Vexter responded without emotion. Your species should have researched territorial claims before colonizing. The deaths are unfortunate, but legally justified. Morgan activated his display and broadcast the evidence to every representative in the chamber. Images of the dead, videos of the attacks, recordings of the plasma bombardments. He showed them everything, holding nothing back. This is not territorial reclamation, Morgan said, his voice steady despite the rage building inside him. This is genocide. This is systematic murder. I invoke Article 12 of the Council Charter. I demand intervention against the Zetharian Empire for crimes against sapient life. The chamber fell silent. Article 12 had not been invoked in over a century. It required the Council to act militarily against species that committed atrocities. The Council's arbiter, an ancient being called the Prelate, studied the evidence for long minutes. The Prelate was older than most civilizations, had witnessed the rise and fall of empires, and was considered the ultimate authority on galactic law. Finally, the Prelate spoke, its voice like grinding stone. The evidence is clear. Civilian casualties were extensive. However, the Zetharian territorial claims are legitimate under precedent law established 4,000 years ago. The deaths, while tragic, occurred during a legal territorial enforcement action. Article 12 does not apply. The Council will not intervene. Morgan stood frozen. Around him, other representatives were already moving to the next agenda item. Something about trade tariffs. His people had been slaughtered, and the galaxy's response was to validate it with ancient legal technicalities. Earth's decision. The message reached Earth 3 days later. President James Harrison watched Morgan's testimony in his office in Geneva. He had been president for 8 years, had guided humanity's integration into the galactic community, and had believed that joining the Council meant protection and justice. He had been wrong. Harrison's chief of staff, General Patricia Wells, stood beside him. She had fought in Earth's last major conflict 40 years ago, had seen the planet unite under one government, and had watched humanity put away its weapons in favor of diplomacy. They're saying it's legal to murder our people, Wells said quietly. The Council won't help us. Harrison nodded slowly. Get me every military commander we have. Get me our industrial coordinators. Get me the intelligence services. He paused. And Patricia, pull up Project Warhammer. Wells stiffened. Sir, that project was shelved 20 years ago. It was deemed too aggressive for a species trying to integrate peacefully. The Council just taught us that peace makes us victims, Harrison replied. We tried their way. We followed their rules. We limited our military, trusted their justice, and believed in their civilization. He turned to face Wells. 200,000 of our people are dead because we were good galactic citizens. Because we were civilized. Harrison pulled up classified files that had not been accessed in decades. Plans for weapon systems that had been designed but never built. Ship designs that were considered too militaristic. Manufacturing protocols that could convert civilian industry to military production. Humanity spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of war before we reached the stars, Harrison said. We got very, very good at it. Then we put those skills away because we thought we'd evolved past them. He looked at the files. Time to remember what we are. Wells accessed her own secure channel and began sending activation codes to military installations around the solar system. Facilities that had been mothballed, training programs that had been suspended, research projects that had been frozen. How far do we take this? Wells asked. Harrison thought about the images from Meridian. The children in the schools. The families in the shelters. the systematic, cold-blooded efficiency of the Zetharian attack. "All the way," he said. "The Zetharians want to see what happens when they hurt us. The Council wants to hide behind ancient laws. Fine. We'll show them what humanity looks like when we stop being civilized." He began composing a message to go out to every human colony, every ship, every outpost. "For 80 years, we've been model citizens of the galactic community. We followed rules, respected traditions, and trusted in Council justice. Today, that ends. The Zetharians have declared war on humanity, and the Council has given them permission. So we're going to answer that declaration. Not with diplomacy, not with legal arguments, but with something much older. Something we've been very good at for a very long time." Harrison sent the message. Across human space, colonial governors, ship captains, and military commanders received the same instruction. Prepare for war. All restrictions lifted. Show them what humanity really is. In the council chambers on Concordia, Ambassador Morgan packed his belongings. He had one final message to deliver to the prelate. He found the ancient being in its private chambers. "Ambassador Morgan," the prelate said, "I trust you understand the Council's decision was based on established law." "I understand perfectly," Morgan replied. "You value laws over lives. You value precedent over justice. You've made it clear that humanity means nothing to you. That is not." "I'm not finished," Morgan interrupted. "You should know something about humans. We're survivors. We've nearly destroyed ourselves a dozen times and always came back stronger. We've turned our entire world into a weapon when necessary. We've done terrible things to each other and learned from every single one." He moved closer to the prelate. "We came to your council hoping to be better than our history. You just gave us permission to embrace it again." Morgan left without waiting for a response. Behind him, the prelate sat in silence, accessing human historical databases for the first time. What it found there made it feel something it had not experienced in millennia: fear. Humanity was going to war, and the galaxy was about to learn what that meant. Asterisk, the awakening the forges ignite 6 weeks after the Meridian massacre. The orbital shipyards above Earth hummed with activity that had not been seen in generations. Director Marcus Chun stood in the command center of Forge Station Alpha, watching as thousands of workers swarmed across construction frameworks that stretched for kilometers in every direction. Chun had spent 30 years building colony ships and cargo haulers, peaceful vessels for peaceful times. Now he was building something humanity had promised itself it would never need again. Warships designed not for defense, but for destruction. "Director, the Mars facilities are reporting full operational capacity," his assistant reported. "Luna Station will be online within the week. We're projecting first ship completion in 4 weeks." Chun studied the designs on his screens. These were not the elegant vessels favored by Council species. No smooth curves or artistic flourishes. These ships were blocky, armored, and brutal in their simplicity. Every system was redundant. Every component could be repaired with basic tools. They were designed to take damage and keep fighting. "How many can we produce in 6 months?" Chun asked. His assistant ran the calculations. At current production rates, approximately 300 capital ships and 600 smaller vessels. If we expand to the asteroid belt facilities, we can double that. 300 capital ships. The Zetharian Empire had built their fleet of 800 vessels over 3 centuries. Humanity would match half their force in half a year. "Begin asteroid belt expansion immediately," Chun ordered, "and pull every engineer from civilian projects. I want production increased by 50%. Across human space, the transformation was total. Factories that built farming equipment retooled to produce weapons. civilian shipping became military logistics. Universities shifted research toward weapons development and tactical systems. Every resource of an entire species turned toward a single purpose. Humanity was remembering what it had tried to forget. Project Iron Fork deep beneath the lunar surface. In facilities that had been sealed for 40 years, General Patricia Wells walked through corridors that smelled of dust and old machinery. Around her, technicians were bringing ancient systems back to life. This was Project Ironforge, humanity's contingency plan. The project that was built after first contact with alien species, just in case the galaxy was not as peaceful as it seemed. It had been mothballed 2 decades ago when humanity joined the Council and agreed to military limitations. Now every system was being activated. Wells entered the main research laboratory where Dr. Sarah Okonkwo was reviewing weapon specifications that had never been tested in combat. Okonkwo had designed theoretical weapon systems as academic exercises. Now those theories were becoming reality. "General," Okonkwo said without looking up from her screens, "the plasma lens systems are ready for installation. The magnetic acceleration cannons need another 3 weeks. The missile systems are fully operational." Wells studied the designs. What about the special projects? Okonkwo pulled up classified files. The kinetic bombardment platforms are ready. We can deploy them within the month. The electronic warfare systems are better than anything the Council species use. We've had 40 years to study their technology while they ignored ours. And the planet crackers? Wells asked quietly. Okonkwo hesitated. Planet crackers were weapons designed to destroy entire worlds. Humanity had designed them theoretically, proven the mathematics worked, and then sealed the plans away as too terrible to ever use. "Functional," Okonkwo said. "We could build them in 3 months if ordered." "But General, these weapons..." "Our insurance?" Wells interrupted. "The Zetharians proved they'll kill our civilians without hesitation. These weapons ensure they understand the cost of that choice." Wells moved to the next laboratory where soldiers were training with equipment that had been locked away for decades. Powered armor that turned individual humans into walking tanks. Weapons that could punch through ship hulls. Combat drugs that enhanced reaction times and eliminated fear. These were not tools for peacekeepers. These were tools for war, and humanity had always been exceptionally good at creating them. "The galaxy takes notice on the Council Station Concordia." The prelate called an emergency session. Representatives from 43 species gathered with growing unease. Intelligence reports from human space were deeply troubling. Ambassador Velther of the Kryn Collective spoke first. The Kryn were an old species, cautious and diplomatic. The humans are expanding their industrial capacity at unprecedented rates. Our analysts estimate they will have a military force equal to a major power within 1 standard year. "Impossible," Chancellor Vexter of the Zetharians said dismissively. "Building a military takes centuries. We have studied human capabilities. They are technologically inferior and numerically insignificant." Velther activated a display showing recent surveillance data. These images were taken last week. 17 new shipyards around Earth. 43 facilities on Mars. 67 installations across their asteroid belt. All producing military vessels at rates we did not believe possible. The chamber fell silent as representatives studied the data. The scale was staggering. "How are they accomplishing this?" the prelate asked. A small insectoid ambassador named Tixraw clicked nervously. "We have been reviewing human historical databases, as the prelate suggested. What we found is deeply disturbing." Tixraw pulled up historical records. 300 years ago, humans fought what they called World War II. In 6 years, they produced over 300,000 aircraft, 100,000 tanks, and thousands of naval vessels. Their entire species mobilized for war. Primitive technology Vexter said, irrelevant to modern warfare. The technology is primitive, Tixral agreed, but the capacity for industrial mobilization is not. When humans commit to war, they can convert their entire civilization into a military machine in months. We have never seen any species do this because most species evolved past such total warfare. Humans did not evolve past it. They chose to stop, and they can choose to start again. Another ambassador, representing the peaceful Dendari, spoke up. Surely the humans understand that aggressive action will result in council sanctions. They cannot fight the entire galaxy. They are not preparing to fight the galaxy, Velther said quietly. They are preparing to fight us. The council declined to intervene in their dispute with the Zetharians. From the human perspective, the council abandoned them. They are now addressing the situation themselves. Vexter stood abruptly. The Zetharian Empire will not be intimidated by human theatrics. We have 800 warships and 3,000 years of military tradition. If humans wish to test themselves against us, they will learn the cost of challenging a true power. The prelate studied the Zetharian chancellor with ancient eyes. Chancellor, I have reviewed human history extensively since the Meridian incident. I would advise extreme caution. With respect, prelate, you concern yourself with laws and records. I concern myself with military reality. The Zetharian fleet is more than adequate to handle any human aggression. The prelate said nothing more, but privately accessed files that few in the council had bothered to read. Human history was filled with wars, thousands of them. And in those wars, the same pattern emerged repeatedly. When humans were pushed to the edge, when their survival was threatened, they became something terrifying. They stopped fighting to win and started fighting to annihilate. First Blood, the Zetharian patrol fleet, was conducting routine operations near the border of human space when they detected an unknown vessel. Commander Zixal ordered his 3 ships to investigate. It was likely a human scout, easy prey for Zetharian plasma weapons. The unknown vessel made no attempt to flee. Instead, it broadcast a message on all frequencies. Zetharian vessels, this is the UES Retribution. You are hereby ordered to withdraw from this sector immediately. Zixal laughed, a sound like cracking ice. Human vessel, you are outgunned and outmatched. Surrender your ship, and you will be treated according to council prisoner protocols. Negative, came the reply. You have 10 seconds to withdraw. After that, we consider you hostile. Zixal gave the order to fire. His ships launched plasma torpedoes that had never failed to destroy targets. The human ship did not attempt to evade. Instead, it activated defensive systems the Zetharians had never seen before. The plasma torpedoes detonated against barriers of magnetic force that dissipated their energy harmlessly. Before Zixal could process what happened, the human ship returned fire. What emerged from the Retribution were not energy weapons or missiles. They were solid projectiles accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed. Tungsten rods that had been theorized by human engineers decades ago, but never deployed because they were considered too destructive for a peaceful species. The first rod struck Zixal's flagship amidships. It passed completely through the vessel, the kinetic energy creating a tunnel of vaporized metal and atmosphere. The ship broke in half. The second and third rods destroyed the remaining Zetharian vessels before they could react. Entire engagement lasted 11 seconds. The Retribution broadcast one final message towards Zetharian space. This is your only warning. Human territory is now forbidden to Zetharian vessels. Any intrusion will be met with immediate destruction. There will be no further negotiations. There will be no prisoners. There will be no mercy. The message ended. The Retribution jumped to faster-than-light travel and vanished. The message, received news of the destroyed patrol fleet, reached the Zetharian High Command within hours. Emergency meetings were called. Military analysts reviewed the engagement recordings in disbelief. The humans destroyed 3 military vessels in seconds. Admiral Criven reported to the War Council. Their weapons are unlike anything in Council arsenals. Our shields were useless. Then we adjust our tactics, War Counselor Dexter said. Send a battle group. Show the humans what real military power looks like. With respect, Counselor, I recommend caution, Criven said. We have been analyzing human communication patterns. They are mobilizing their entire species for war. Every report suggests their industrial capacity far exceeds our projections. Impossible, Dexter said. They are a young species. They lack the infrastructure. Criven pulled up the latest intelligence. They have activated over 200 shipyards in 6 weeks. They are producing vessels at rates we cannot match. And their technology, while different from ours, appears to be highly effective. Chancellor Vexter, who had been silent until now, finally spoke. The humans are attempting to intimidate us. They destroy 1 patrol fleet and expect us to retreat. The Zetharian Empire has never surrendered to intimidation. Perhaps we should consider, Criven said carefully, that we made an error in Meridian. The chamber fell silent. Suggesting that the Empire had erred was dangerous. Explain, Vexter said coldly. We assumed the humans were weak because they presented themselves as peaceful. We assumed their limited military meant they were incapable. We did not consider that they might be choosing restraint rather than lacking capability. Criven pulled up human historical files. Their own records show they have been fighting wars for their entire existence. They are extraordinarily good at it. They stopped fighting each other only 80 years ago. We did not awaken something dormant. We removed their reason for continued restraint. You suggest we negotiate? Dexter asked with disgust. I suggest we understand what we are facing. The humans are not posturing. They are preparing for total war. And if their history is any indication, they are very good at it. Vexter considered this. Send the 5th Battle Fleet to human space. Not to attack, but to demonstrate our strength. Let the humans see what they face if they continue this path. Criven wanted to object, but knew it was useless. The War Council had decided. The Zetharian 5th Battle Fleet, 150 warships representing 3 centuries of military development, would enter human space. It would be the last mistake the Zetharian Empire ever made. Humanity's promise on Earth? President Harrison addressed the human species in a broadcast that reached every colony, every ship, every outpost. Behind him stood military commanders, industrial leaders, and the families of those who died at Meridian. For 80 years, we tried to be good galactic citizens, Harrison began. We followed their rules, respected their laws, and trusted their justice. The Zetharians answered our trust with murder. The Council answered our pleas with indifference. They taught us that in this galaxy, peace is weakness, and civilization is a luxury only the strong can afford. Harrison paused, looking directly into the camera. We are done being weak. We are done pretending. The galaxy is about to learn what humanity really is beneath the diplomatic niceties. We are survivors. We are builders. And when necessary, we are destroyers. The Zetharians took 200,000 of our people. They will answer for that. Not in council chambers with legal arguments, but in the oldest court in the universe. The court of consequence. Harrison's voice hardened. To the Zetharian Empire, you wanted to see humans at our worst. You wanted to test whether we could defend ourselves. Your answer is coming. To the Galactic Council, you had the chance to prevent this. You chose ancient laws over living beings. Remember that when you witness what happens next. The broadcast ended. Across human space, millions of people returned to their work, building ships, training soldiers, preparing weapons. They worked with the focused intensity of a species that had remembered what it was, The galaxy had pushed humanity too far. Now it would learn what happened when the most successful predators in Earth's history stopped pretending to be civilized. The stars themselves would burn with the answer. Asterisk.